So for over 20 years, I had the most debilitating, exhausting, crazy fear of flying. I still don't exactly know when it started because I really loved flying as a kid, but by my mid-20s, I was already turning down job interviews. I was not visiting friends who I missed and loved. I was avoiding work conferences. I even missed a few weddings, and tragically, I didn't say goodbye to someone I really loved who was dying, all because I was too scared to fly to see these people. Even when I got married, I used to make my husband drive us to everywhere we went. That poor guy had to drive us 24 hours to Canada and 24 hours to Mexico because I was too scared to fly, especially once we had children. In fact, there were 10 years when I didn't fly in an airplane at all, basically most of my 30s. At last, I began to force myself to fly, but when I did fly, it was a white knuckle kind of thing. I would have huge full-blown panic attacks on airplanes where I was sweating profusely with ringing in my ears, heart racing, the whole 9 yards. And airplane stewards sometimes had to sit with me to calm my panic on the airplanes. Even my kids understood when they were very little that flying with mommy meant comforting her and holding her hand if there was turbulence or when we were taking off. It was a humiliating, agonizing experience for me to fly with my family, and it was really hard on my marriage, actually. At the age of 42, I was introduced to Jessica Boston by a mutual friend who told me, "I think she can help you." And Jessica had already significantly helped my friend's husband with his fear of flying, so she believed that Jessica could help me. I went into our first session feeling wary and skeptical about hypnotherapy, but I was willing to try anything, frankly. And I could tell right away that Jessica was different and that I was about to experience something new that I hadn't tried before. But I could never have predicted how effective her techniques were going to be. I remained fully conscious throughout our first session, but she was able to bring me to a state of interconnectedness, and I was able to talk to a level of my own subconscious mind I frankly didn't even know existed. After that session, I listened often to the MP3 that she had recorded for me during our time together, and I wondered, okay, well, how's it going to go in real life? But about 40 days after my first session with Jessica, I flew from Spain to the United States. It was a total of about 15 and a half hours of travel, and then I returned to Spain. So that involved 4 flights, a lot of turbulence, and there was even a medical emergency that the crew had to handle on board one of the aircraft that I was flying on, just a few rows away from where I was sitting. And through it all, I was like a changed human. I remained calm, I was relaxed, I was even able to enjoy the experience of flying, and that normal racing heart stayed steady. And believe it or not, I was able to watch movies, I read 2 books, and I was even able to take a nap. And for me, that's just unheard of on an airplane. I knew that things had really changed though when my daughter said, "Mom, what's wrong? Normally you seem so scared on airplanes, and this time you're acting totally normal." It's been 6 trips now since my first appointment with Jessica Boston, and I honestly look forward to flying at this point. It's such an easy way to travel. My husband is thrilled, and so are my children, because at last we can fly to some of the places we've always dreamed of visiting. Because of this, I've continued to work with Jessica on a variety of other issues. She just seems to be incredibly insightful, effective, and cuts straight to the heart of the things that I most need to work on. Thank you so much, Jessica. You have truly changed my life and dramatically improved its quality.